Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Minnesota Twins talk here. And this one is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be kind of the same as the reviews, right? But this is going to be for the entire Cleveland series. I'm going to be recapping basically the last 3 games in more of a general sense instead of game-by-game breakdown. If you want to see the game-by-game breakdowns, though, make sure to go check out the playlist, the Minnesota Twin game reviews on the channel. But let's just jump right into it. This one is going to be about Cleveland and the Twins, their rivalry so far this season, and where we've come to. So, 2019 Minnesota Twins. Guess what? We're on top. We are on top of the division, baby, and that's where I like to see us. We are 2-1 on the season, right? And if you didn't see any of the games, well, like I said, you should go check out the reviews, but Minnesota did win the first game 2-0 on a great pitching performance by Jose Berrios. I mean, that was just a great game in general with Kluber and Berrios on the mound. I'll go into a little bit more in-depth into that matchup a little bit later. But the next day, Rizzi had a great performance as well. Like I said, 2 Twins back-to-back days to start the season with 10 or more strikeouts. This only happened one other time in Major League Baseball, 2001 with the Diamondbacks. But to have that happen to the Twins, you know, that's just good. That's good, right? You know, you always want to see your pitchers doing well. And then you go to the third day with Pineda. And I thought he was going to break the record. I mentioned that yesterday, but he had an amazing performance. Let's just go through this. The Twins have allowed 5 runs. 5 runs in 27 innings. That is unheard of. And I get that it's the 3rd game of the season, but that is unheard of in Twins territory. We have scored 12 runs as well in 3 games. Considering that we scored 9 in 1 and, you know, 1 and, what, 2? Yeah, 2. 1 and 2. In the previous 2, you know, it's a little bit all over the place. Still a little bit concerned about the hitting. But, you know, after that 3rd game, we looked like we should be there. We looked like we knew what we were doing, and that's the team that I think we were all accustomed to seeing on the field. So, I mean, Rocco Baldelli, a great, you know, job managing against the rivals in his first career Minnesota Twin games. But back to the pitching. Kluber and Berrios. Let's talk about that. So, I mean, I've been going back and forth with a couple people in the comments, and a couple people are saying Cleveland's better, right? Cleveland has got this pitching staff that's better. And then I say, you know what? Minnesota has never had the greatest pitching staff, right? We've never been known for our pitching. We've always tried to go out, or at least I've said it, maybe you guys have said it as well. We should always try to go out and draft a pitcher, right? Somebody who we can rely on, somebody like Berrios, you know, who we can use as an ace or a 1 or 2 and push them, right? We can really get them going. And a lot of people, you know, are still saying Cleveland, this is their division. Berrios cannot match up with Kluber. And I come back, I say Kluber just got outworked by Berrios. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen every time they play each other, right? I mean, these are definitely the 2 aces, the 2 Cy Young candidates going up against each other. But I'm not saying Berrios is going to outwork him every single time. But if he has that sort of pitching performance, and he is capable of that, I know if you're a Twins fan, you've seen that in the past couple of years. He is capable of doing that kind of performance every single game. And he did it against a good Cleveland offense. I mean, right, they're not the same as they used to be, but it's still a good Cleveland offense. So, to have him, he's 25 years old, by the way. 25, he's got about 10 years left. So he did get the win, right? 7.2 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts. He had 26 batters faced, a 2.3 hits per 9, a 1.2 walks per 9, and a 11.7 strikeouts per 9. Rizzi had a 16.5 strikeout per 9, and Michael Pineda had an 11.3. I don't know about you guys, but that has got to be the highest pitching strikeouts per 9 through the first weekend ever. There can't be anybody else, right? Maybe the 2001 Diamondbacks, but even if you look at that, every single guy in that lineup, pitching staff, worked. They outworked their opposing pitcher. If they can do that, it doesn't matter if they pitch that good every time. You know, like I said, Berrios, Kluber, those 2 guys are incredible pitchers. But Berrios outworked him. He pitched longer, he pitched better, more strikeouts, less runs. That is what I'm talking about. If they can do that every single time, they don't have to do 7.2 innings, 10 strikeouts. But if they can work longer than Kluber, if they can work more strikeouts than Kluber, less runs, even if, Pineda goes 4 innings like he did against Cleveland, if he goes 4 innings but gives up less runs, I would rather take that, put Perez in there, let him go with the long relief like he did. So to say that our pitching is not good, I laugh at you, because it doesn't need to be good. It doesn't need to be the best. It doesn't need to be Cleveland. We beat Cleveland not even at their own game, right? I mean, yes, at their own game, because our pitchers outworked them. They were structured better than the Cleveland monster starting pitcher lineups. If they can outwork their pitcher every single time, we will win the division hands down. And our rival is Cleveland, right? That's who we're competing against. We're not competing against the Sox, the Royals, or the Tigers. We're competing against Cleveland. So now let's go to the hitters, because, this is a big part of it, right? Let's go through it. So, Garver doesn't have a hit. Cron has a couple hits. He's batting 300, first weekend, so these numbers are a little bit skewed. But, Jonathan Scope, he's got a couple hits. He's got 2 hits. Polanco's got 3. Gonzalez, there we go. Gonzalez has a hit. It was a double. That was a big hit to win us the first game. Rosario without a hit, but Buxton with 4, Cruz with 4, Kepler with 1. All of these guys, their pieces are coming together. I was mentioning this to one guy who was commenting. We are not relying on Nelson Cruz. We're not relying on Gonzalez, Scope, Polanco, Garver, Buxton, our pitching. We're not relying on any single person. We are not, I want to say the Yankees, but okay, here we go, the Angels. We're not the Angels. We are not relying on Mike Trout to win us games. If Cruz gets hurt, that sucks. That really sucks, but guess what? We got Astudillo coming in at the DH. We could put Gonzalez at the DH. We can move Andrianza to third. We can put Cave in the outfield if Buxton gets hurt, because that'll probably happen, but hopefully not. But you know what I'm saying? We don't rely on a single person to win us games. Each individual has their own role. Buxton with speed, Cruz with power, Polanco with some speed, Cron with power. I don't. Those are just examples, but that is what won us the games in Cleveland. We did not rely on Nelson Cruz to hit that home run. I mean, it put us up, 5-0? We didn't rely on him to hit that home run in order to win us that game. Buxton hit a double. Astudillo hit 2 doubles. Polanco hit a triple in the series. Cron got a couple doubles. Gonzalez got that double game winner. I mean, broken bat singles got us some hits, which scored some runs. That is what I'm saying. We're not relying on Lindor, on Ramirez, on Kluber to win us these games. We're not relying on one person to strike out 15 guys, to get 2 home runs in a game. You win 1-0. Each individual person on that team is capable of doing something. And that is what I've mentioned that with Boston before. It's kind of like the anti-Moneyball situation, but it's like the Moneyball situation, but for contact, speed, and defense, right? Moneyball was more like, let's get on base, let's get home runs, that kind of thing. That's what the Dodgers, that's what the Yankees do. That's what Cleveland has done in the past. Now, we work towards the opposite direction, right? Where speed, contact, defense matters. The Red Sox, Mookie Betts can run, he can hit. Bradley can run, Bogarts can hit. All these other guys, Benintendi has some power. All these guys are working together. If Betts goes down, that's a shame. But, Kinsler's going to step up. Or Bradley's going to step up. Or, Bogarts is going to hit a couple home runs. Every single person develops into a role. And in that Cleveland series, you saw the perfect example of that. Pitching, fantastic. Batting, pretty much solid up and down. Even when we were getting perfect gamed twice through the first time we were in the lineup, we kept it close with pitching. And then in the third game, when we jumped on it right away, we hit. We hit a lot. That's good. So, to recap the Cleveland series, even our bullpen, they struggled a little bit with Perez, giving up the 3 runs, but he did well for the most part. and Blake Parker, you know, struggling one time. It happens, right? It happens. We let it go. It's a long season. But every time, you know, one person does well, another guy steps up. One person really does not well, another person steps up. It works like that. That's the system that Baldelli's going with. That's what's working. And, you know, back to that. We are 2-1 for a reason, right? Obviously, we lost that game, but we could be 3-0 just like that. We could be 1-2 just like that. It's a long season. It's going to take some time. But if we just keep slowly developing, slowly working together, it's going to work. And I know this isn't probably the recap video you maybe were thinking of, but it's kind of just what I thought of. You know what I'm saying here? Cleveland is a good team. So is Minnesota, right? It's going to be a dogfight until the end. But with Minnesota getting the series victory, 2-1, it sets the tone. You saw how the series was going to go for the rest of the season. You know, it sets the tone. It allows for people to really, you know, settle in to what the Twins are capable of, what Cleveland is capable of. 12 runs, 5 runs allowed. It's a good start. 2-1, it's a good start. We're at the top of the division. So that's all I got for you today. I know it was a little bit off the rails, but you know, it's a little bit of a good video, right? A good series win, just to kind of recap it all. So I will be back tonight with another video talking about Cruz, Cron, and those two guys in particular, and I'll let you just figure that one out for yourself tonight. But there will also be a preview video for the KC Royals game tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow morning before the game goes up, and then of course the recap afterwards. But that's all I got for you today. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you tomorrow for another, or tonight for another one. See you then.